Hey everybody, this is American Idol Unaired, the singers you didn't see. I'm your host, Bennett Shear, and today's guest is Ray Christopher. Ray, welcome to the show.
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm so excited to hear about you, your experience. I want to know about you as an artist. I'm thrilled. So, why don't you just start us out by introducing yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, my name's Ray Christopher, as you guys heard. Um, I'm 20 now 26 years old. I'm a music director in Northern California. Um, so I just work with artists. Lately, I've been working at a right now. I've been working at a church and leading worship on Saturdays and Sundays at our weekend services. And yeah, that's pretty much my gig now. I moved to California like a year and a couple months ago. So that's been a whole new adventure. But yeah, that's pretty much me now.
Cool. Well, right off the bat, I think it's super cool that you have a musical occupation outside of just living the dream because it must be so interesting the fusion between being your own artist and then also working with other people with their music.
Yeah, that has always been a an interesting bridge to gap. Mainly, what I have been doing is scheduling and aiding in development of other people, which has helped me in my journey as well.
I don't know if the artists that you're working with are similar at all to you or if they're very different, but regardless, I'm feeling like it could also be strategic to kind of help them be like, wait a second, could any of this be beneficial to me and how I want to think about my own craft, my own performance abilities and my songwriting, all the elements of being an artist. I feel like that's kind of always going on in your head as you're helping them.
Yeah, it has, and that's been a big help with me with trying to develop my sound and develop what my music taste is. It's been a help and and a little bit of a hurt because I've gotten real picky, and it
Mm.
makes the process a lot longer. But
Sure.
it's mainly just like helped me out so much, and like the people that I've gotten to work with and meet along the way has been awesome.
I'm also really curious. Already, even before getting into American Idol, there's so many interesting things just in that intro alone between what you do for a living and even living in California because so many people go to LA or New York, but since you moved more recently to California, I'm curious how that's impacted you in terms of what it's like to now be someplace where so many other artists live and where everybody essentially goes to pursue their dreams.
Well, it's honestly been kind of crazy ever since I moved here, because the ways that I've gotten connections, like certain industry connections, have been completely, seemingly random, having nothing to do with my job or any of the people that I knew, like when I moved here, even. And that's been really cool. And I think even more beneficial for me ever since moving here. Um, it's been crazy, especially the change in the music scene from because I moved from Atlanta, so
Mm-hmm.
there's a music scene over there too. But like moving from that music scene to this music scene has definitely been an adjustment.
Mm-hmm. In what ways do you think? I mean, obviously they're very different location wise, and LA, and Atlanta, they have I'm sure, very different vibes. But is there like, I don't know if there's like a one simple answer to explain how they're different.
There's so to say it in the simplest way, it feels like in Atlanta it is very established, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's more difficult to get to the people who you want to be talking to. Um, whereas here, at least where I'm at, it's not that it's less of an establishment, but it's just newer. So like as soon as I got here, people that I met are just dropping names of these producers that I've worked with people like Usher, that have worked with people like Justin Bieber. I still have that are just like dropping those names here, and I'm like, how are we already like
Yeah.
speaking? I haven't. made any moves yet. So it's just been like really interesting in that fact.
Wow. Now, as far as Idol goes, I wonder what the timeline is because I know you said it was about a little over a year ago that you moved. Does Idol come into the picture before the move? When did you become a part of the show?
I became a part of the show after the move. Like I think it was like 4 months after I moved here that I had a friend from Georgia just call me up and say, "Hey, I have a connection with one of the producers on the show, and I think you'd be perfect to try to go on American Idol if that's ever been a thing that you've thought about." And I thought about it for like a couple of days, and I was just like, you know what? Yeah, I will try it out. And so yeah, it happened pretty quick actually after I moved.
Yeah. Obviously, some people when they hear, "Do you want to be on American Idol?" they'd be like, "I'm in, like let's go right now." But it's also reasonable to think about it, and I'd say that, a couple of days is like a reasonable amount of time where you weren't like kind of wallowing in it like trying to make a decision. You turn around pretty quickly. But were there some things that you were considering, whether it was back and forth or some doubts? What was going through your mind?
To be honest, I've always wondered about people's careers after American Idol and like what is actually happening and how much of your artistry and how much of your work you're signing away just
Mm-hmm.
by making it to a certain point in the show. And so like that was I honestly had a hesitation with whether I wanted to do that because I was like, if I do exactly what I want to do, what does that mean that I'm signing up for right now? Ultimately, I decided that it was something that I was willing to go through and figure out afterwards because um, I got into contact with a few people that said that they could help me navigate that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you know what? Okay, we'll try it.
Mm-hmm. And it's also probably about the platform too, and just knowing that it's the exposure and the experience, and even meeting other musicians.
Yeah, that came to me after I auditioned and once I got to the very first like in person thing when I realized I said, you know what? Actually, this experience is crazy and meeting all of these different artists who are doing the damn thing, making moves, and are just kind of like inspiring to me was worth it. Was well worth it.
Well, once you decided to go for the show, I imagine that it wasn't maybe the quickest process in terms of getting. You have to get through producers first, and you go through, I imagine, a couple rounds before you get to the judges in person. So, what was that like? Were you going through different Zooms and interviews and stuff?
Because my friend had the in, I actually only had to go through 2 rounds of the auditions with the producers. I went straight to the first producer and I just sang one of my songs, introduced myself, sang one of my songs, and she said, "Okay, we're gonna have another Zoom meeting in like 2 weeks with the rest of the producers, and then they'll decide."
Mm-hmm.
But like the in between was me working with that first guy that my friend got me in touch with um, on my presentation, how I wanted to um, present myself as an artist in front of these judges and stuff like that.
Even just for one specific project, you really wanted to focus on that almost kind of mini development process just for American Idol alone, because I think that's what you were thinking about. You were thinking about, how do I want to be represented, and it's a big deal, and it was a big decision to make. So I think you were kind of like, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well put my all into this and just go in completely prepared, use the tools in my toolkit, use the resources, use my connections, and it sounds like that's what you did, really taking the time to prepare.
Yeah, I definitely did my best with that. Did my best to prepare. I think once it got to the point of actually performing, because I want to say that I did my best, but I don't think I did my best, you know.
Mm.
I think the novelty of everything, the newness of everything, and uncertainty of everything just got to me almost
Hmm.
almost every time.
Hmm.
So I really applaud the ones who made it all the way through, and like who like are able to like get past all of those mental things. I was surprised that I made it. I was surprised that I made it anyway, honestly.
Well, I think, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, everything does happen for a reason. And you look at the artists that over the years, you do enough digging on the internet, you're shocked to find out who went on the show, didn't make it, probably even as far as you did, and then go on to have these amazing careers. American Idol is an option, it's not the only way. And so just
Right.
getting to be there is something you can say, I did it, but it's just another step in the path.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to continue on my own thing. One thing that I told them, um told the judges when I left the show was that whether I'm make it here or I don't, I know that I'm still moving forward in my path. And so that's what I'm still trying to do. Trying to still release music soon and figure out what that means for me as an artist.
Before I ask about your performances, I do want to know more about you as an artist and how you would describe your sound, your influences, the genre.
I would describe my genre as um 50-50 between like pop and R&B.
Hmm.
I really try to fuse that. My biggest current influences are artists like her and Lucky Day. They're a little bit more in the R&B lane, but they sometimes kind of like flip into that pop kind of lane
Hmm.
as well. But those are my biggest like current influences with my music, and I think my sound kind of takes from that influence and kind of puts it into like a pop setting, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I also think that nowadays it's like, pop music is I love to use the word fusion, but it really is we're a fusion of just so many different styles and so much of R&B is infused into pop music and like literally like take any mainstream genre like country, take rock, take hip hop, just all of like it's almost like I feel like you can kind of take anything and put it with pop, and I mean that in the most awesome of ways in the sense that it's a cool thing. It's cool to be able to take what it is that you bring to R&B and then add the pop flavor, and then it's that combination, that perfect flavor which makes you who you are as an artist.
Yeah, that's what I love about the genre of pop is just that I feel like it's a place where any kind of artist can fit into pop.
Yeah.
And so you like any kind of artist can fit into pop, and that's cool, but also you can really like stand out as an individual in
Hmm.
the genre of pop. So that's what I really like about it.
And I think, like, honestly, any artist right now who's on the rise or they're still grinding, like, you look at the pop charts right now, you look at today's top hits on Spotify, there is such a variety of sounds in there. Like, we talk about Harry Styles' new album. You talk about
Yeah.
maybe more of the like maybe there's more of the mainstream stuff. Like, last year it was all about like Olivia Rodrigo, but like now you have Harry Styles, you have upbeat stuff, you have slower stuff, you have ballads, but so many different kinds of sounds and like sometimes like there's the pop punk in there like with Black Bear, Machine Gun Kelly. There's just so many
Yeah.
different things and I feel like that's kind of I would imagine hopeful for somebody trying to make it into the music scene because it's like you don't have to fit into a box. You can be
Yeah.
whatever you want, especially with TikTok because that's how so many of the hits become discovered. You never know. Like even there was a contestant named Lauren Spencer Smith who was on 2 years ago, got cut top 20 American Idol, and now she's blowing up from TikTok.
Yeah, see, that's the dream. Like when I look at people's like careers and how they blew up, I look at people like Tori Kelly, how she went on American Idol, didn't even make it past like Hollywood Week, and then just like continued on social media, on like Instagram and YouTube, and now is where she is. Like that stuff is like super duper inspiring to me to just like keep pushing past this setback, and then yeah, I just I love pop because you don't have to. It's not. You don't have to define. You don't have to like specifically define this. And if it's not this, then is it really pop? You don't have to do that in there. You know.
And I also think that what's interesting about watching artists who, especially with Idol, like Tori Kelly, if I'm correct, she got kind of rediscovered by Scooter Braun. He signed her, so she still kind of went through the typical. She still kind of went through the typical music industry path. Just took her a long
Yeah.
time. Whereas with someone like Lauren Spencer Smith, I think the irony is that at first, the people said no on American Idol, but then the people said yes with TikTok. The people have the power, even if it's not, even if you don't get voted through with American Idol, the people really decide at the end of the day what they like. A lot of top 40 radio is political, just like the Grammys are political, and who wins the
Yeah.
awards is political. I look at what are the top 10 hits on the radio versus what are the top 10 hits on today's top hits on Spotify. Not the
Mhm.
same. And you're like, why are all these songs playing on the radio but not on today's top hits? And you're like, there's a lot of industry label stuff going on, but at the end of the day, the people decide what they like, and that's why streaming shows you the numbers of who's actually listening. And I don't know, I think I'm going all over the place, but I think I'm getting kind of somewhere as far as people kind of making up their minds, right? Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
decide what they
The
like.
people. Yeah. The people will make up their mind. Power in the people. Yeah.
Since you didn't make it to the rounds where the people do vote, it's like the judges are deciding for you. So it is up to these three people. Which being there and singing for them, I'm sure that you take their criticism. You recognize the fact that they're very successful. But I mean, I don't know. What does it feel like? To kind of that they take the time to listen to you, but it might also be disappointing. I imagine to not get through.
It was. It was cool. Okay. So like the first. So my audition performance was pretty like dramatic. Like
Mm.
I said, I was like, I didn't do my best. I let things get to me. I was dehydrated, whatever you call it. I performed my two songs, and then I got dehydrated and passed out in the room with them. Yep. So I thought I thought I was getting three no's because of that. I was like, goodness. But it was literally while they were like telling me stuff, like while they were giving me feedback. I sang two songs, and after the second one, while they were giving me feedback, I was just like, and almost like went straight to the floor. And they were like, and then I had to leave and came back like 3 hours later, and then they gave me their deliberations, and like they did not pull any punches. Katy Perry said like that it sounded like I had something in my mouth when I was singing. I don't even know what that means. Um, she gave me she did give me like some encouragement. She was like, yeah, your upper range is ace. You need to like work a little bit on your lower range and stay compelling. Like the more distant I get from it, the more I'm like the more I disagree with what they were saying. But I take it to the chin, Not like I'm not like bitter. I was definitely butthurt, but like I'm not bitter now. But they still gave me three yeses. I made it past that point at least. Um, but man, getting their criticism is hard,
Mm-hmm.
hard in the definitely difficult because especially after leaving, I'm like, how much of that was for the show and how much of that was real?
Mm.
Because I know for some people, they're just like, they'll just find anything like to say that to make it sound like they're not gonna push someone through and to add the drama. And so I'm like, okay, this is feeling kind of like you guys are going in right now. I was like, is this really what I need to hear? Or is this like half truth, half drama? So
I have so many questions. I think because yeah. All right. So first of all, what songs did you sing? The two songs.
I sang Like I Can by Sam Smith,
Uh-huh.
and I sang Cause I Love You by Lizzo.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, kind of like that. I see that pop and R&B mix right there. You kind of had that on the floor with the two selections you made.
Yeah.
Um, Now, so backing up a little bit, because before you go in the room, listeners of this show know that it is a very long process just being there. Which, when I think about what may have contributed to, I mean, gosh, and I'm sorry to hear that, man. Like almost passing out. That's it's a lot. Um,
It's
but so what day did you perform? Because another thing people know is you don't always go on day one. You can be there a long
yeah.
time.
I performed on day four. I was with the first day four group. Me and my group got there for day 3 and 4, so we weren't there for days 1 and 2. I got there and I found out that I was in group 4. So on day 3, well, we had a day 0 and a day 3. So on day
Hmm.
0 and day 3, it was a lot of filming. We sat in the waiting area where they also like filmed some extra stuff, and it was basically just waiting every day to get called somewhere. It was that part didn't feel overwhelming. You get kind of nervous when you see people leaving the room either really happy or really upset, and but it was mostly really like nice sitting there talking with other artists, hearing their stories, hearing where they're going after this, and or like what's motivating them to do this. And then like just like jamming out. We had so many jam sessions on like days 3 and 4 in between the filming and stuff. But like the nerve-wracking stuff was when like there was a rumor going around, and I mean I'm pretty sure it was true, but they were like, yeah, day 1 almost nobody went through. The judges are being really really tough on people. Like everybody was like too fangirly and stuff like that, so nobody on day 1 went through. And they're like, you guys better be careful because guys aren't going through as much as girls. And I was like, I don't know if I believe that, but like on like day 3, they were like, bro, out of 12 people, where it's like 6 guys and 6 girls went, 5 girls went through and 1 guy went through. And I'm like, stop saying this. I need y'all to stop telling me this because you're just adding to the stress unnecessarily. Like, I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. I don't know, but this is not information that I need either way. Please stop telling me this.
Is this the LA auditions? I meant to ask you the city.
Yeah, LA.
Okay, gotcha. Um, so okay, the rumors get to you, of course, and let's talk about fun for a second. You made a lot of good friends, I assume. You made
Mm-hmm.
memories, and any standouts, like any memories meeting people in the waiting room and stuff.
Me and Prince. Um, I don't know if he was still called Prince in the show. I think he was. Um, we jammed. We were jamming together and like singing in the waiting room, and like some of the producers and the video guys like stopped everything. They were like, "Wait, do that again. We might use that." And
Yeah.
so they stopped everything and just like filmed us two singing a whole song,
Wow.
just jamming together on a song that we had never sang together before, and so that was a lot of fun.
What song?
um just Friends by Music Soul Child.
Cool. Cool. Never
Yeah, it
heard
was
of
a
it, but
lot of
I'll have
fun.
to check it out now.
Yeah.
Um, So then, whenever it is that you finally get to go, do you feel like by the time that you were heading into the judges' room, you were able to get out of your head about the rumor? Like, were you only focused on yourself now, or were you still thinking, "Oh my gosh, people aren't getting through," and not to mention I'm a guy? Like, what is going through your head at that point?
By the time they called my group, because you went in like group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, all that stuff. And so by the time they called my group, my heart had been like racing, and all of my focus was just trying to get myself to calm down
Mm.
and to just like get my heart to like stop racing. And for whatever reason, I was not able to like get it to just like get myself to calm down. The doctors afterwards said that I was dehydrated, but I wasn't even thinking about I was thinking, am I going to be able to perform? Am I going to be able to catch my breath? I was like, if I'm feeling like this, I'm not really going to be able to like give my best performance. I'm not really going to be able to like smile, move around because I'm going to be too focused on breathing. I was like really focused um on the guitar because I brought a guitar I play guitar in my audition. I was like, if I'm this nervous, I might forget chords. I had like put every other thing out of my mind and was just like trying to focus on like getting my heart rate down so that I can focus properly. Nothing I did worked.
Mm. Well, what was the vibe when you walked into the room, like with the judges? Did you get a friendly vibe? Were you chatting a bit before the song started?
Yeah, it was a friendly vibe when I walked in. Um, I just walked in, stood, waited a few seconds after saying, "Hi, my name's Rayan. I'm 25. I'm from Georgia and whatever." And waited a couple seconds, and then we had some like banter back and forth because Luke Bryan is also from Georgia. Um, and then me and Lionel Richie talked a little bit, and so yeah, it was a chill, nothing too crazy vibe. They asked me a couple questions about like how I grew up and like what I was gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted to like do with music and stuff like that. But that was pretty. It was a pretty chill vibe,
Mm-hmm.
better than what I had heard because I forgot like they other people like who had auditioned before me were also like they were also talking about like there's this one girl who was like, the judges were mean to me the whole time. Like I walked in and they were just mean. I was like, oh. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't know if I can handle it.
Wow.
If they're gonna be rude too.
Uh,
Trying to hold on to
and remind me, so the order of the songs. I know you mentioned the two before, but can you remind me of what you sang in it and when everything happened? Because I know it didn't go according to
yeah.
plan.
So first thing that I sang was "Cause I Love You"
Mm-hmm.
by Lizzo, and I sang that. I think I did a decent job because I hit everything, didn't mess up on the guitar. Um, After that, they said, they needed to hear a little bit more. They didn't learn enough about my voice. They needed to hear a little bit more. So I sang the second song, Like I Can by Sam Smith, and I did that just a cappella. Then they started deliberating and started saying, I'm not. It was Luke Bryan that was like, I don't know. I don't know if that this is what I'm like trying to hear, And then it went to Lionel Richie, and he was saying it feels like it's missing something. Um, then he threw it to Katy Perry, and she said something about it sounded like I had something in my mouth when I was singing. And then everything started to get like my vision started to blur and it started to sound muffled while they were
Mm.
talking. And I was like, and Lionel Richie was the first to kind of notice. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then like I kind of leaned and I took a couple steps back and fell to my knees.
Wow.
And then they got up and surrounded me. And Lionel Richie came right up next to me. He goes, you're fine, you're doing okay. You didn't blow it, you're fine, it's okay." And then Luke Bryan grabs a bench for me to sit on. The producers are grabbing. Well, Katy Perry's telling the producers to grab me some water, and they're all being like, like they like took everything off, all of the faces that they had on a second ago, just off, and they're just like it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Like you'll come back. We'll finish it. But you didn't just blow it. It's okay. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
because I was so embarrassed. I was like, how did this happen to me? Because I've never passed out or anything like that in my life.
Wow.
And so I was like, how is this happening right now?
So, okay, well, two things. One, when the judges were deliberating, were they like talking directly to you, or did they feel like they were talking as if you weren't there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they usually started off by talking directly to me. Like they would look at me and say, I don't know. And then they would like go and like talk to each other. I don't know if I heard what I needed to hear and da 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 da. And then what do you think? And then like kind of look at me and then go back to talking to each other type deal.
You think that's for TV, or you think that's just kind of how their style is, or
I do think like I do think it was like for TV.
mm-hmm.
It's for T. I think part of it's for TV, and I think part of it is to keep a poker face. Because the more I think about the situation that we're all in, I'm like, you've got to think about how to make this as interesting as possible. They can't let me in on whatever they're thinking about, and so I think it's for the TV.
Well, my next question is based off of that. I mean, when you're, first of all, I can't even begin to just express like I don't know how to. I would never know what that's like. I haven't been in your shoes, so I was gonna say as you're hitting the floor, but then I'm thinking to myself, are you even aware of what was happening? So now I feel really stupid. I was gonna be like, as you're hitting the floor, what are you thinking? And then I'm like, you're probably not even thinking. But my stupid question, which I'll just ask to see if there is an answer. Now I'm going
Yeah.
red. Is uh, as you're hitting the floor or whatever, are you thinking to yourself like, oh, are the cameras all ready to capture this and put me on TV and make me a story of the season? Like, was that going through your head?
No, I didn't. I literally just thought that this was going to be the thing that ended my journey. I I you're right. Like there was like nothing going in my mind when I like was hitting the floor except for like what's happening right
Yeah.
now. And then like it immediately went to I'm it after I'm on the ground, it's I'm falling. Oh no, oh no. And so I'm like really embarrassed. So I'm like smiling and doing the nervous laugh. And I was like, sorry guys, I have no clue what's going on, what just happened, and da da da, trying to like play it off any type of way. And I'm just thinking in my head, I just blew it. This is it.
Mm.
I'm not I'm not gonna get the answers that I wanted. And then they took me out of the room without telling me the answer too. So now I'm just like they sent me back to my room and like they gave me food and water and told me to hydrate and stuff like that. So now I'm just like in my room for like 30 minutes, just like thinking, man, I did that. Now I'm about to go back in there and get three no's.
Mm.
I was like, of course. And so I thought that was the end of my journey, honestly. Oh, and then someone did say, well, I bet you get aired now. And I was like, I hope not. I hope they
Mm-hmm.
don't air that.
Were you surprised that they didn't air that? I'm just being realistic here. Were you surprised that they didn't air it?
I was. It's so complicated. It's so complicated because I'm like, on one hand, I'm happy. On the other hand, I'm also not because like
Yeah.
I do wish it had aired. It would have been very embarrassing though. But
Yeah.
I still wish it would have been.
I look, man. I just think the whole thing about everything happening for a reason. Like I'm telling you, like I, I just like I don't know. I want like the best for you, and I just want you to have like the most amazing, awesome, successful career. And I feel like not to say that you couldn't have that moment on television and go on to achieve amazing things, but now you can just push it past you. And obviously, people listening have heard
Yeah,
about it to this podcast. But in the grander scheme of things, like whatever you do next, people can just meet you for the first time and be like, all right, this is Ray Christopher. We're recognizing him as an artist, not because he passed out on American Idol. I don't know. That's
yeah,
probably where your head is at. I'm thinking.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think that would have, if that had happened, that would have branded me
Yeah.
and I would have been stuck with that for a while,
Yeah.
and like figuring out how to, that would have been like the lens of my career. So on that hand, yeah, I am glad. Just to the people that I eventually told that I went on American Idol, for those people, I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish I had like aired at all.
Hmm.
I was in some background shots, but that's like it. At least it proved that I wasn't lying. But like, but I
Well, you
was
you also
still
had the
like,
Instagram post with the golden ticket. Hey, I auditioned, and that gets you clout too.
yeah,
That's got the newspapers
yeah,
being ready to write articles about you, and the local news like, hey, let's interview you. I mean, you know.
yeah. Oh man.
So you did get three yeses, yeah? They put you through despite
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah, they put me through. I was shocked in the room that I got three yeses. I thought I was getting three no's. I had already prepared my girlfriend, my mom. I was like, all right, I'm coming home with no's. I had already told them because I was so sure that I was getting three no's. Um, yeah, I was extremely shocked. And then I had a real reaction. And the cameras missed it, so they were like, "Ah, oh, do it again." And I'm like, it's not real anymore.
Wow.
The moment's passed.
Well, so I'm wondering what it was like walking back in the room. First of all, had other people around caught wind? Like, is there like a lot of buzz going around the set that this guy just like passed out, or was it more were they able to keep it kind of private so that people weren't noticing?
I know that it got around to everybody. I don't know when though,
Mm-hmm.
because like I walked out of the room and I saw the four people or the three people that I was auditioning with, and they saw me walking with the doctors, and then like sitting down with the doctors and getting checked out a little bit, and then walking back to my room. And on my way, they were like, "Oh, they're like looking so excited for me. They're like, how'd it go?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for you yet. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I kind of passed out and I have to go back later. And all this as I'm like getting shuffled off back into my room to make sure that I'm okay. And then I think between then and my second time going in front of the judges, it had made its way
Yeah.
to everyone.
Right. That's I figured. But and that's I also I'm just thinking like when you're as you're walking back to the room and you're entering for a second time, like I don't know what that pit in your stomach is like, but how much were the judges like? Did they really like talk a lot about like, oh, we're so sorry, we hope you're feeling better? Like, were they really talking a lot about that, or did they want to just get right to the results?
They said we got into the room, and then like for like a good 2 or 3 minutes, we were just like, "Are you okay? Has that ever happened to you? Do you like how like are you eating okay? Like we want to make sure that you're safe. Like this is just supposed to be like a fun thing." And I was like, no, I'm fine. It's really fine. This has never happened to me before. I don't know if it was a nervous thing or if it was just a dehydration thing. Cause like I said, never happened to me in life before. And they were like, that must be scary. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, as long as you're okay, I guess we're ready to just keep going. And so then and then once they resumed, they resumed. It was like back. I was like, oh wow, this is how this is how you guys do it.
Yeah.
Y'all are used to this.
Yeah. Wow. And then I'm guessing that once they put the faces back on, it was back to suspense, poker faces, because now that they know you're okay, now they can make you nervous again.
Cause literally, yes, but cause literally they were like back to saying, yeah, man, I just don't know. And I'm like, man, because I wanted to see if I could like maybe like say, I have one more song for you guys and sing a third song for
Yeah.
them or
Third
something.
time's the charm.
But
Yeah.
they were like, I was gonna try if they like said no, if they said no, and then like whatchamacallit, I was gonna be like, hey, is there any way I could just do one more song for you guys? And then like see, because I was like, I can't let that be let that be how I auditioned for you. Obviously, I passed out and da 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 da. But they ended up giving me three yeses anyway, so I was like blown away.
Do you know what you would have sang if you were to do a third song?
I was either gonna sing "Isn't She Lovely" or "Crazy" because I wanted to sing "Crazy" in the first place, but my the producer that was talking to me, that was coaching me through this, advised me against it.
Ah,
So I was either gonna go for "Isn't She Lovely" if I was feeling in the room.
is this like Crazy by Gnarls Barkley or a different song?
No, yeah, "Crazy" by Gnarls Barkley.
Uh huh. And why do you think the coach advised you against?
He said that it was too common. Too many people do it, so it's harder to stand out.
Hmm. I don't remember hearing it on the show, but maybe they just didn't air it. Maybe other people that didn't air sing it.
That's that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know how many people do it. I'm like, but especially watching it back, I was like, I didn't hear anybody sing the song I was
Yeah.
trying to sing. So, but hey, I was like, it's whatever. It's over now.
If anything, Hollywood Week it really does raise the stakes. It's a lot of pressure filming wise for you guys. What they show on TV, it's like that on steroids to actually film that. So were you nervous about like knowing your body and how your body responded to the audition? Were you a little scared about how it was going to be for Hollywood Week?
I tried to put it out of my mind. Um, and so for Hollywood Week, I, for the most part, treated it as if I wasn't performing, as if everybody else was performing, but I was there for some other job,
Hmm.
so that I didn't have to like have it in my mind the whole time and be stressing about my parts. And the most stressful part, the most stressful part aside from actually like performing was my rehearsal with the guy who was accompanying me on piano. But other than that, it was mostly chill. I was mostly just meeting other people again, trying to like just stay calm, hang out, all that
Hmm.
stuff.
What was stressful about that rehearsal?
It reminded me that I have to perform again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It reminded me that it's not, see, here's the thing, right? Performing isn't what makes me like, it was isn't what made me nervous. It was like performing to be judged, and if these three people say yes, then I get to go on with this, and then I get to go on with this huge opportunity. And if they say no, then my opportunity is done. It's that like gets me. That would like get me before. And it was my first time working with the accompanist. We only got like 10 minutes to work with him. So I was like trying not to be picky, and then like thinking about how I'm going to do the song again. And then I'm just like stressing out. And like, this is going to be counterproductive and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I tried to put it on mind for the rest of the time.
I'd love to hear about, some of the maybe the friendships you made, memories. I mean, who did you meet that was cool when you got there?
My audition best friend was Prince first, and then Sir Blake. Such a cool dude. And then we had a like, we eventually like had a whole group. I can't remember everybody's name because everybody didn't have an Instagram that I could follow. But met a few people like Michelle Majors, who also I don't remember if
Yeah,
I
she
don't
didn't
think she
air.
aired either.
No.
Yeah, Michelle Majors, she was really cool. Abigail, I don't remember her last name. She wore the bucket hat and
The
performed with
broom.
the yeah, with the
Yeah.
broomstick. She was cool. Oh, Yoli Mayor
Oh
was really
God,
cool
Oh,
too.
I want to get her on the show so bad. No, she's so
Yeah.
good.
She's so cool. Like, what a cool person.
Oh my God.
I want like every like, and just like super happy, smiley, and like one of those great vibes to be around.
Oh,
Like you meet Yoli, and you're like, I want everything for you. I want everything to happen for you. I want everything in your life to succeed. Because she's just like that kind of like warm person that you just want to see succeed. Yeah, one of my favorite people that I
Uh,
met there too. You meet friends where I'm like, man, if we were in close proximity and not on two different sides of America, that we would be like really good friends right
yeah.
now.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
Before Genre Challenge, they have these alumni mentors. I don't know how much you watch the show or if you watched the show before you were on it, but they bring back, they're bringing back people from past seasons. Who did you get to be paired with?
Jordan Sparks.
And were you a fan? Did you watch the show before you were on it?
Be honest, no.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch the show much. I don't really watch TV that much, actually.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I've heard it someone else. It's just funny. I remember like the first time I interviewed someone, they said that I was like, I'm like this super fan who has. I'm not in my home studio, but I have like an American Idol background in my house, and she's like, I've never seen American Idol. And I was like, oh, okay. No, it's cool. No, like it's not for everyone, but it's still cool to be a part of it. And I think that especially being a part of that 20th season, it must have been cool to be in that atmosphere with these sort of people that you knew had sparked a legacy for the show, and you're getting this
Yeah,
advantage of having somebody who's been there and done it give you advice.
yeah, yeah. Jordan Sparks was super cool to meet. She was super nice, super bubbly, and also like super calming to have there. Like she kind of like made it feel like she was like, "Hey guys, let me tell you something. This right here is the hardest part. This is the absolute hardest part. Outside of this, nothing else is this pressure intensive. Literally nothing else." I was like, "Oh my God, thank goodness." And she goes, "And then the fact that you guys are here says a lot. This doesn't stop you if you don't make it here." And I'm like, keep talking. Cause she was just like saying this to us. I'm like, this is amazing. And she gave us a performance too. She
Yeah.
like sang for us and with us. I'm like, this was really cool.
They only paired the mentors with a few people to actually give them like one-on-one coaching. Did you get a chance to get anything one-on-one from her?
I did not, other than pictures, but no. Yeah, that was the coolest thing. It's just the pictures and the conversations that we had whenever we were all taking the pictures.
And then for actual genre challenge filming, sounds like you were in the pop line and or one of the pop lines. I imagine there were quite a few. Day one, day two.
Day one.
Okay. And well, you got it over with, right? That's good. You had day two to kind of rest, relax.
No, sorry, I was day two pop. Day two pop. That's my bad.
Let's keep the positive energy going. You had day one to relax, get
Yeah,
present, get mindful, whatever we want to call it.
yeah.
And then day two, it's go time. Any like standout performances from who you had witnessed before it was your turn to go on stage from any of the lines?
Honestly, the R&B line made me want to stop. I was like, I should just stop singing right now. These guys are all doing it. Goodness gracious, the R&B line was absolutely crazy. Prince was one of them where I was like, bro, even when we were singing together, I didn't know you could sing like that. That was crazy. uh, yeah, no, the whole R&B line. And I don't they cut a lot of people. I was like, I don't know what your criteria is at
Yeah.
all. All of these guys are crazy singers and performers. In the R&B line, I was like, I was sure that they were gonna send a whole line through. I was sure, but very wrong.
Wow. When it was your turn to go on, what song did you sing,
I sang "Locked Out of Heaven" by Bruno Mars.
and how did that go?
It went well. I had a lot of fun with it. I think I could have taken a little bit more like liberty with the stage than I did. I just didn't see I didn't see that from many other people. And so I kind of like made the assumption that like we're here and we're doing a performance, but our performance is like how well the song is going and how it connects with the people and X, Y, and Z. And I got in my head a little bit about my performance other than the singing, but I did what I wanted to do vocally. I did exactly what I wanted to do vocally, and I was very proud of that. Didn't mess up a single thing that I tried. I think I could have done a little bit more with the performance though.
Mm-hmm.
But man, looking at the judges' faces whenever you're performing is hard because they are just.
Stone cold.
I'm like, bro. I'm like, I'm not asking for like big smiles, but like the stone cold
Just
has me feeling
something.
like I'm something, anything to make me not feel like I'm completely bombing, right?
Well, what was the reaction in the room from your fellow competitors?
The reaction in the room was good. Like it was slow to start, which is fine. The song is slow to start. But like once I got to like the bigger moments of the song, the reaction was good. People were clapping. It felt like the audience was there with me.
What ended up happening? Did you make it? Did you not make it?
I did not make it.
Overall, if you had to look back on it, like what's your like immediate thought when it comes to like someone saying, "Hey, what did you think about American Idol?"
My immediate thought was it was so much fun. If I could have that experience, even without the promise of you're possibly going on TV, you might make all of these moves in your career, I would do that. I would do that once a year, every year. I would pay to have that to like go back and like be able to like meet and have those experiences and jam and talk to people because it was actually just like so much fun,
Mm.
so much fun being there. Literally everything, everything not having to do with the show still like actual like airing was so much fun. Meeting people, we were waiting for a very long time. Like most of it was just waiting, but still just like sitting, meeting people, waiting with people, talking about us all being nervous, singing, us singing together, jam sessions. It was all just like a lot of fun.
As somebody who's not an artist myself, I still feel kind of left out because I'm like, it just sounds like such a blast. Like, I don't even want to, I don't care. Just like, if I can get through one, if I can get to Hollywood Week and just like pay to be there, I don't have to be any good. Just like to go and be a fly on that wall, I would. Like, sounds like some amazing
Yeah,
times.
yeah, it was a great experience.
Mm. I'm just glad to
Yeah.
hear it, because that's the highlight for me is talking to you guys and knowing that it was good for you. I mean, of course, there's always ups and downs, but there's so much next for you. There's so much next for everybody that you met there because you're all crazy talented, and the people that found you and brought you there saw something in you. Ray, what can people expect from you in the future?
You can expect to never know my next move other than music. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be releasing music, but I'm also doing a lot of other things on the DL. So keep your eyes peeled. Stay tuned. I'm coming up.
I'm excited and I'm honored that I got to talk to you because when that stuff drops, I can be like, I got to talk to Ray Christopher. Like that's some cool stuff right there. Well, just to make sure that people don't miss anything, and I don't want to miss anything either, please let people know where they can follow you, where they can stream your music so that they don't miss anything.
Follow me at Ray Christopher underscore on all social media platforms. It's the same everywhere. Um, and I've got music out on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music as well.
Awesome. Well, you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Idle Unaired Podcast, clips from the show, info on all of our upcoming guests. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, make sure to follow, subscribe, rate, leave a review, tell a friend. That's the old-fashioned way, whatever you want to do. You can also watch these interviews on YouTube. Just type in American Idol Unaired. Ray, thank you so much for being a part of the show. And guys, have an amazing day.